I think every turnaround is a bit unique, right? But there are common elements that I've seen in turnarounds and as I've studied other turnarounds that seem to exist in almost all of them. And what I want to do, I don't want the slide to make you believe that a turnaround is simple. It's long, hard work. And it involves, and Dr. Scaringe will talk about the timing that's necessary for turnarounds and the pieces to it. But these elements, I think, are very important. I think first, board and senior management alignment is important. And when I talk about board and senior management alignment, I mean two things. The board and senior management have to be aligned on their roles. Boards govern, management teams manage. And so that governance and management has to be aligned. And then they have to be aligned on the plan. Every turnaround starts with some form of a plan. And as we all know with plans, the first thing that they do is fail at some level. So we need to be not only aligned on the plan, but the changes on the plan as we go along. Using the audit as a launch pad. The audit, the institutional audit and the institutional financial statements are critical. They are how many constituencies monitor us. They monitor us. Our bondholders and our lenders look at those. The accrediting agencies look at those. Many other constituencies look at those. And the audit itself covers most of the financial details: revenue, expenses, assets, what we own, liabilities, what we owe, and most importantly, cash flow. And when an institution finds itself in a turnaround situation, cash flow is typically fairly critical. The other piece about the audit is when you use the audit as a launch pad, it helps you frame what should be goals. One of the things that we want to do in a turnaround is we want to look at where the institution should be financially in 3, 5, 7, 8 years. And so the financial goals in the audit are a bit of a North Star for us. Recent experiences with clients and lenders, the lenders want to see what the financial goals are for the institution. Breakdown of program margins. This is tough because in many higher ed institutions, the data systems aren't set in a way that give us useful and actionable financial information around program margins. So we need to be able to look at all of our academic programs, our non-academic programs, all of our auxiliary services, and many other pieces of the institution, and we need to know what each contributes or doesn't contribute to the margin of the school. Often fairly complex, but there are models for it. There are ways to do it. And so that the board and management knows really, the margin for each piece of our school. Legal policy and contract review, very, very important. In many cases, turnarounds will involve renegotiating contracts. I was on a board at a healthcare institution where we were considering a merger with another institution. And fortunately, one of our more senior trustees had said, we really should look at the documents because this had been a city hospital. And when they split off many, many years prior, that original document said, sorry, you really can't merge with a private entity. So it guided us as to who we could and couldn't merge with. So a good legal policy and contract review. I'm sure Dr. Scaringe and others would agree, turnarounds require hard decisions. And this is where the board and the management alignment is kind of critical because these decisions are not going to be popular. They're going to have opposition at times. But if you've got your goals set, you've done your studies, you see where you need to go, the hard decisions are easier to put into place. Reallocation and capital investment. It's a difficult situation because in the face of a turnaround, you're normally trying to cut expenses. But turnarounds often require additional funds. They require additional professional services at times, legal, accounting, consulting services. They require analysis. And especially if you're going to be repositioning programs, taking perhaps a poorly performing program and making it work better based on what the market says, you may have to invest in that program. So you'll be a lot of turnarounds, there's a strong effort to reallocate and make additional capital investments. A little bit difficult when I say re-examining and breaking compromises. We have to do things different. For various reasons, some controllable, some not controllable, we find ourselves in a position of not performing appropriately. Breaking compromises simply means we'll need to do some things differently. I tell you what those are. Those are very different for every institution. Jack mentioned my role at SNHU. SNHU was a marginally performing institution financially in a small market in New Hampshire. And what had to happen was we needed to really think differently about changing our delivery system, changing the way we offered courses to make the institution thrive. Just the last piece, a turnaround is 180 degrees, it's not 360. So I've seen institutions that have put consistent time and effort into a turnaround, and things start to work. For various reasons, then they continue to turn and they spin back to their former financial positions. And I think it's important to recognize, and that's why ultimately we want to have not necessarily just financial goals, but non financial goals, so that no matter what happens, we're actually moving towards those goals. So, again, those of you that have done turnarounds may see other elements that are important, but these are 8 that I've seen and I use in the work that I do.